I have data fitted in my Excel sheet. You cannot do what I'm doing along with me. So it's better you grab your notepad and pen to make notes. And after the end of the webinar, here is my email ID and my contact number. You can contact me. You can send me hi, and I will send you the Excel workbook which I have used along with the solutions, so that you can practice the same concepts you have learned. And the third thing, do your homework. First, do the things which you have seen on the screen. After, you can apply your own wisdom to have a great learning on the concept. So let's start. First one is recording macros. So what macros are? Macros are basically the sets of instructions, or you can say it's a certain steps which we usually follow, frequently follow in our Excel sheet. So macros are the sets of instructions that can be triggered by shortcut, toolbar, or icon. For this, it's a prerequisite tab. It's known as, it is found in the developer tab. Not all Excel files have developer tab. I will show you how to add developer tab in your Excel ribbon. And a piece of advice is that, as the definition of macros said, that it's certain sets of instructions. So it is advised that you only record such instructions that can be used in one sheet. Don't record such instructions or formulas that are used in multiple sheets while recording macros. Okay, so let's have a practical view of that. I'm presenting you. Just a second. Here it is, recording macros. You can see that in my screen, there is a tab known as developer tab. Here it is. In some of the Excel files, there is no developer tab. I will show you how to add and delete this tab. First of all, click on the empty space of any tab. You will see the option, four options. Click on customize the ribbon. Here, the drop down menu appears. First, I'll show you, wait. It's a normal Excel ribbon in which you don't find the developer tab. I've removed it. So what you have to do to add the developer tab, you have to right click on the empty space in any tab, customize the ribbon, select the developer tab from here, click on OK, and it will automatically add the developer tab. This developer tab, when added, you can see the option of macros here. So first, we are going to record macros. After I click on record macro, I will give certain instructions to Excel sheet. Let's see. I will click on record macro. Let's name it. I say it's formatting. I name it formatting. You can also set the shortcut key for it, but make sure that there is no other shortcut key by that name. For example, if you cannot save it by Control C, because it's the shortcut key for copy. And you can store macro if you store in if you choose this option, new workbook or this workbook, the macro will remain only in this worksheet. But if you store the macro in personal macro workbook, it will store in Excel memory, and whenever you open any Excel file, these macro will the macro which I'm going to create by the name formatting one will appear. So let's store it in personal macro workbook. I click OK, and now you can see recording has started. The stop, here's a button, stop recording. I will stop it. First, let's format the worksheet. Let's take a case study. I'm the VP Education of Faridabad Toastmasters Club, and we have started the initiative Skilling. For that, I have to maintain the attendance of the people who attend this session. So what I have to do, first I format the sheet. I reduce the column width of column A. Then to give a professional look, I will fill it with white, and on the third column, in the cell B3, I will change the text tag to say Algerian, and text uh, size to 24. I write here attendance of people attended. Calyx. And I will put it that in bold, underline, and I want to, okay, that's it. So I've given certain sets of instructions. I've changed the column width. I've added a text in cell B3. I've changed the text font size and font type. Now what I do on the developer tab, I will stop recording. So now you can see I have recorded certain sets of instructions, and whenever I need exact the same instructions to be carried on, here's a new sheet. Nothing is being carried on here. Now under the developer tab, I will click on macro, and I've saved it by name formatting one. I click on it, I will run it, and it will carry out the same instruction that we have carried on earlier. This will save your time. Macros are really great time saver, and I feel it's better than paste special or copying a new workbook. So that's it for the macro. Any doubts for recording a macro? You can put your query in the chat box. Any doubt? Okay, I guess there's nothing, no doubt. So let's move on to another topic, pivot tables. I hope many of you have heard the name pivot tables. They're Excel dynamic and interactive tables used to simplify large quantities of data. They are used to analyze trend and can be found in Insert tab. Pivot table basically help us to extract meaningful information from huge chunks of data. Let us see how it's done in practical. Another tab, we have pivot tables. You can see here, it is a statement showing votes in the election for the various parties. There are five parties: BJP, Congress, NLO, and Denied. This table shows the information about the voters who have voted in column B, about the party name in column C, age group of voters in column D, last voted, when the voters last voted on column E, year of registration, and ballot status. So basically, I want to show you that there are over 4,000 rows, 4,000 rows. So how we can extract meaningful data from it using pivot table. So first step is select whole data, including the titles. Then in the insert bar, I'll select pivot table. So here the drop down create pivot table drop down box appears. We can select from here if you can. We have to create a pivot table in a new worksheet or in existing worksheet. First, I will choose existing worksheet. Then I will give another example of a new worksheet. So you can set the location where you want to create the table. Let's say I want to create table in this cell. I select it, press OK, and here you can see that a pivot table dialog box appears on the right of my screen. How I can use it? First of all, you need to select the field from which you want to analyze. Let's say I want to analyze the board. I will from here pivot table fields. I will drag the votes under value bar. It is showing sum of voters. Now we can insert rows and columns of our choice. Let's say I insert year, age group in column group. Let me show you. Here you can see it is showing the age group of various voters from 18 to 20 years, 21 to 30 years. Now we can add rows. And in rows, I can say party. Okay. There is a little mistake. The table shows sum of all votes from the age group of voters. It is wrong. So what we have to do, we have to change the sum. We don't need the sum. We need to count the cells. So what we do, we click on this value, we select value field setting, and from this Dropbox menu, we can select the command we need. Here I need count command. We will select OK, and a table is created which shows the number of people who voted for BJP from different age groups. As you can see, it is very clear from the table that we have 5 parties: BJP, Congress, Decline, Inalo, and others. We have the number of votes from different age group. We have a grand total of it. As you can see, we can easily extract meaningful information from over 4,000 rows in just 5 to 7 rows. This is the magic of pivot table. I hope it's clear. I know it can be a bit confusing, so I have another example of pivot tables for you. Uh, this is the product information of a firm which have over 15,000 rows, and we need to find. Let's select all the data and insert pivot table in a new worksheet. I will select pivot table from insert tab, a new worksheet. I click OK, and automatically a new sheet will be created. So let's say I need to find out the volume of each product. So I will select the volume, drag it to the value bar, and it is showing me count of, now it's showing me count of values. Let me change it from count to sum. We need the sum of values. I will select value field setting and choose sum, click OK. Now it's showing me sum of overall. It's showing the sum of total volume. But what we want, suppose we want year wise volume. So I select year and drag it over column field. Now it's showing me sum of volumes of various years in 2011, 12, 13 and 14 for 6 months. Now I want to know what is the volume of different products. So what I do, I select product and drag it over row box, and the table is automatically created. A dynamic table is created which shows the sum of various products. Let's add something more. I add the producer also. I want to know which producer produced what product. So I will click on producer and drag it over here. And now a beautiful table has been created. You can easily interpret it. In the rows, it shows various items that are being produced, and under the items, it shows the producers. For example, here, alcohol, total volume of alcohol is in the cell B5, and North Cascade is the producer. Let me show you more. Drag it down. You can see a meaningful table has been created, and if you don't want, you can easily remove the settings. If you don't want the producer, you can easily select it and remove it. Now we have the products and their volumes in each respective years. That's the introduction to pivot tables, and it's not all about it. It's just a brief summary of what pivot table is and how it extracts data from huge chunks of data. I hope you find it interesting, and if you have any doubt, please feel free to put your query in chat box.
Yes, there is a
Okay.
query from Muhammad Riaz that can you do one pivot chart with the data?
One pivot chart.
Yes, Muhammad, you can unmute yourself and explain your query.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hi Ash. Good evening. Uh,
Hello.
yeah, how are you, Ash?
I'm good. You can ask a query.
Yeah, Yash, I just want to know, can you, with the help of the data, can you do one pivot chart? I mean, a kind of representation. What are the types of representation we can do with it?
You mean to ask, can I make a chart out of this table?
Yeah, yeah. I think there is a because I never tried actually. That's the reason I just want to know.
Okay. So you can easily create chart from this table. What you have to do, you select the data, go to insert column, insert chart. You can insert any type of chart. There's an option in MS Excel. It will recommend you the chart which can be created. For example, it's if I click on recommended chart, it is showing that the best type of chart is clustered column. Let me click OK, and here the chart is automatically created. 1 second here. Oh, okay. I hope the chart is clear to you.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, okay, I got it. I got it.
Got it? Okay. So let's move forward. With,
Yes, I just have one question.
yeah, sure.
So, when we do pivot, sometimes the format also get changed, when we add data and we take away the data from pivot. So,
Yes,
how to fix the formatting part in the pivot chart?
there's another, as I say, it's just the introduction of pivot table. There's another formula known as get pivot data that is used. If I get some time after the webinar, I will surely tell you.
No
Or you
problem.
can connect me personally after the webinar. I will surely answer your question, but don't want to get into that because it requires a lot of time to explain.
Yeah, no problem. That's okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's move forward. The third topic which we have is conditional formatting. Conditional formatting, it basically format the specifics or the selected cells according to given criteria which we define. The criteria can be anything. It can be on the basis of values. It can be on the basis of formula or percentages. And it's found in the home tab. So let's see the practical application of conditional formatting. And one more thing, it is used extensively in the field of finance. So let's see the conditional formatting. Here for non-commerce students, I'm sorry didn't get another example. Here the example of profit and loss statement of XYZ Limited. You can see the figures are in crores. Uh, there is a P&L of 3 years, 2014, 2015, and 2016, and the here it is variance. You can interpret it. It's a growth percentage. So what I have to do, if I submit this PNL to my executive, he is not going to read all the numbers. He needs some tool to visualize the data. We all know that numbers are the best way to measure anything, but visualization of the numbers could help you understand the picture faster. Conditional formatting gives us the tool and a quick rule of thumbs to visualize the data. Let us select the data which we want to visualize. Let's select the variance which represent growth. I select it. Here conditional formatting. I click on it and it shows has the various options like data bars. You can easily see what exactly conditional formatting do. Their color scales. It helps us to visualize the data what exactly it is in one glance. Their icon set. In this example, I'm going to use this traffic light conditional formatting. I click on it and you can see Excel by default changes it for me. but it's always preferred that you have your own rules. So what I do, I select the data once again, I manage the rules, click on manage rule. Here you can see the drop down box appears. I click on edit rules. Now you can easily see what exactly the colors represent. The color green is representing the value which is greater than 67. The color yellow is representing the value between 33 and 67, and the color red is representing the value less than 33. It's a rule. You can easily change the value from here and change the type from number percentile from here. Okay, so I'm going to click it OK, apply this. If you look closely to this sheet, you will find there's a mistake. What a rule is, a value greater than 67% will be green. But why is this value showing green? It's 45%. So there is a mistake. Yeah, let us understand this mistake, why it's happening so. So what we have, Excel reads percentages in the range of 0 to 100. So what we have provided that for the any value between 0 to 33%, it will show red. For any value between 33% to 67%, it will show yellow color. And for any value above 67% and below 100, it will show green. But what was wrong that? What went wrong? I'll show you. If I show my table once again, my least value is this, minus 90. I'll highlight it. This is my least value, and the greatest value is 81. Right? If I approximate it, so my range is from minus 90 to 80. So how Excel interpret this? Let's understand that. Just a second. From minus 90 to plus 70, there are 170 numbers, or you can say 170 points. Okay. For Excel, what we have provided is from 0 to 33. It is red. But for our condition, 67% of 170, we have 170, not 100. Excel reads from numbers 0 to 100, but we have provided it numbers from minus 90 to plus 80. Okay, so according to Excel, what it interpreted is 67% of 170, roughly 24%. So what Excel is showing, that value greater than 24 is green. That's why, just a second. That's why it's showing 45 as green. I know it is confusing, but you can always avoid that. What I do, I select the data again, click on conditional formatting, manage the rules, and let's edit the rules once again. I edit these rules, and this time, what's the change I'm going to do? I'm change the type from percent to number, and believe me, it will finish a confusion. What I'm going to do, I'm going to write percentage as number in the form of decimals. Let's say I want a value greater than 10% or 0.1 to be shown as green, a value between 0 to 10% or 0 to 0.1 to be shown as yellow, and the value less than 0, that is negative, as red. I click OK and apply. It's not done. Just a second. Manage the value, edit the rules, number. Okay, it's already done. Sorry, it's already done. So now you can see the meaningful visualization can be done. The first value, that is 11%, it's greater than 10, it's showing green. The value 1.2%, it's between 0 to 10%, it's showing yellow. And the all the values below 0 that are in negative are showing red. This conditional formatting helps us to visualize data easily in one glance. I hope it is clear, and that's all I have about conditional formatting. If you have any doubt, you can ask me.
So just one quick question, Yash.
Yep.
So is there any limitation for the conditions? Why can't we put 10 conditions in the same and 10 different colors? Is
You
it
can
possible?
put under this managed conditions. If I say apply new rules, there are a type of conditions you can satisfy. The format based on values, the format what cells contain. I would say that yes, there are certain limitations, but for the visualization purpose, I think it's all sufficient.
Okay.
Uh, do you have anything more to ask?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Any other questions? Uh, should I move ahead, guys?
Yes,
Okay,
sure.
okay, let's move. So now the last topic of today is, and probably the most interesting one, are the lookup functions, the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. So what lookup function does, it finds the lookup value from the table and extract it in another table. And we, in our daily lives, we use it extensively. There is only one minor difference between lookup function, that are VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, that VLOOKUP looks for the values in the column and HLOOKUP looks for the values in rows. And as I previously said, that these values are used to extract data. Let us see how it's done. For VLOOKUP, I have this question. You can have a look on the table. On the left side, it's showing the brand, the country, model, megapixels, LCD monitor. And you can have a look on the table on the right side. It's somewhat similar to on the left table on the left, but it's a slight difference that there are less items. And the remaining column, in the remaining cells, we need to fill the data or extract the data from the left table. We use lookup functions, and we are going to use VLOOKUP for this. First, let's understand what are the arguments of VLOOKUP function. I will type VLOOKUP here. Select OK. So you can see there are 4 arguments for this function. First one is the lookup value. It's the value which need to be found in the left table, or it's a basic value over which all our calculations or all our formula is based. The second argument is table array, or it's a source table. It is basically the table on the left from which data will be extracted. The third condition is column index number. It is the number of the column from which data is to be extracted. And the last column is range lookup. It is basically true or false. For true, if we are writing true, we need the closest match, and if we are writing false, we need the exact match. It's the logical value. So let us apply the lookup function on our table. I apply it here. Just a second. Okay, we are ready to go. I write VLOOKUP. From our first condition is lookup value. What is the lookup value? We need to find Fuji, the brand Fuji from this left table. I select the lookup value, comma. The second condition, table array or the source table, which is this. I select all the table. Third condition is the column index number. As you can see, the country sales is the second column of our source table. So we write 2 over here. And the fourth condition, if you are looking for an approximate match or an exact match, as the name is clearly written, we will be writing false, as we want exact match. and click OK. You can see it gives the value Japan. If I show you what the formula has done, it has looked the value, sorry, it has looked the value of Fuji in our source table, and it has extracted value corresponding to Fuji from the column number 2, column number 2, and it gives the value Japan. Great. So let us copy the formula and paste special. I have copied the formula and it's showing error. Why? Let's see why it's showing error. Press F2 and you can see that the source table has changed its location. So we got a first mistake in the first formula. We need to fix the table. We need to fix referencing. I use absolute referencing in this to fix the references of the source table. Now it's done. Let's copy the formula again and paste special. Now it's correct. It's showing South Korea. Great. Till now we are doing great. Okay, so let's fill the remaining part of the table. I again copy the formula. Just a second. Okay, and I paste it in this cell. Paste special formula. It's again showing error. What's the cause of this error? Let's find out. See, what we have, just a second. See, this is fine. We have not fixed the lookup value. We need to find Fuji, but it's showing that we are looking in for Japan in the source table. Okay, so we need to do one thing more. From the first, we need to fix the column number. I fix the column I using referencing, putting $ over I, and now again I copy the formula and paste it. Oh, so sorry. Just a second. I need to fix a column. I need to fix column and I have fixed it. There's error. Please give me 1 minute. I'm fixing I. Let's try fixing the row. Maybe I fixed it wrong. If I put $ over here, copy the formula, paste special. It's again showing error. What's wrong? I'm getting something wrong. So let's apply lookup function again in this. VLOOKUP, comma, bracket open, lookup value. First one is Fuji. Then, okay, I got it. So sorry, I got my mistake. What I've mistaken is, let me copy the formula here. So what I've mistaken is, if you see the formula here, it is still showing column number 2. But we need to extract model number, which is the column number 3. So I have changed the column number again. I change the formula and I write it 3 over here so that it will extract the information from column number 3. And the mistake I have done, I need to fix the column, not row. better I apply VLOOKUP again. So sorry guys. VLOOKUP, then lookup value, then I will select the table, then column index number, that's 3, false. Okay, now it's showing correct model, FinePix JB150. Let me paste this, Alt TS. Again error, and why it's showing error, you all know. It's looking in we have not fixed the table reference here. We need to fix the referencing of the table. Now if I copy and paste it over here, great. So that's how VLOOKUP work. Let's try doing here also. First, I will fix the column reference. Then I copy the formula here. And here I would change the row number in this, in this formula. I change the row number to 4 as we have come to 4th row. Now it's showing correct. Now it's working correctly. Again, I click on it. I change the column number to 5th. Yeah, it's working correctly now, and we can paste it. Yeah, so that's how we have filled the table using VLOOKUP. I would like to do it again. So I'm deleting all the values. So first we will apply VLOOKUP. Then we select the lookup value, that is this, and fix its column reference using $sign. Oh, sorry. Oh, so sorry. I fix this column reference, comma. We select the table, the source table, and fix all the references, absolute referencing. Then I apply the column number. We have to extract data from column number 2. Then I click, we need to give the condition false, and it's done. Now I can easily paste it, and I need to just change the column number of every column to make the formula work. It's column number 3. It's column number 4. It's column number 5. Now I can paste this formula, and we have filled the table. One thing we need to make sure while using VLOOKUP function is the lookup value, that is Fuji and Samsung in our case, should be in the first column of lookup table, else this function won't work. I hope VLOOKUP, sorry for the confusion I've created earlier, but now I hope it's clear to all of you. Please let me know if you have any doubt in this. Any doubt? Yep.
Yeah, why we are using VLOOKUP? Because I see that source and target has same number of column, same value. So
Sorry, I
what
didn't
is
get
the
you.
use of VLOOKUP? Why we use VLOOKUP here? Why we use generally VLOOKUP?
Because we need to extract the data from the columns of the source table. if we have to extract data from the columns, we use VLOOKUP. And in second example, which I'm going to show you after this, is HLOOKUP, from which we extract data from the rows.
Okay.
Okay. Any
Yeah.
other doubt? It can be really confusing at first, but after practicing it, it's an easy tool. So any doubt?
So what you mentioned, what should be in the first column, otherwise it would be failed. Sorry, I skipped that one. What you were saying?
What I was saying when?
Like it should be in the first column, like you were saying some.
Yeah, I said that the lookup value here, when we apply the formula, we fix the lookup value Fuji reference I6, we fix the column reference I6. That lookup value Fuji should be always in the column first column. It should be in this column of our source table, else the lookup function won't work. Because VLOOKUP function works from left to right. If there is any other data to the left of the lookup value, the function gives us wrong value. So it's always advisable to have the lookup value in the first column. Did I answer your doubt correctly?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let's move on to second example of HLOOKUP. Here I've shown an interesting case study. Let's assume there's four students, A, B, and C, D, and these are the marks in 4 subjects out of 100. Okay, so now we will apply HLOOKUP here. Let's say I write here A, and now I apply HLOOKUP. The only difference it will have is we will write column number instead of row number. Oh, sorry, we will write row number instead of column number. Okay, let's apply HLOOKUP here. Same arguments. First, lookup value. Second, table array. I choose the following table. Third, row index number. Now be careful. We need to have a row in Hindi is in second row, so we write second. And again, the condition, we need exact match, so we write fourth. And here it is giving the same marks, 82. Now we can copy the formula downward. It's completely working without referencing. And now one more small feature, we can say data validation to create dynamic tables. Here, select the cell J5. On the data tab, select this data validation tool. Choose list, and in the source, you can choose the following students whose marks are in the table. Select OK, and it creates a list, a type of list which can give you result, and it creates a dynamic tables. For example, if I change its value from A to C, it's automatically changing. So it has created a dynamic table without referencing. If we don't want to use much referencing in our tables, we can do it in this way also. See, it's automatically changing, and you can check the values it's extracting is correct. It's 89, 89, 95, sorry, 95, 95 was student 3. We can easily change the name of student by clicking on them. I hope that's clear.
Can you please repeat this one? How you did the drop down?
Okay, sure. We need to select the cell where we need to create the drop down menu. Select the cell, go to data tab. Under data tab, click on data validation, choose data validation, and choose the criteria as the list, because we have we have 4 students and we want a list of those students. Then select the source. I select the students again, select the source, click enter, click OK, and our list will be created. If I do it in VLOOKUP, I can easily do it. What I have to do, I have to just select the lookup value under data tab. I will click on data validation button. Data validation, I select the option of list. I give the source where various names are there. Select it. I click OK. And now we have created a dynamic table which will change automatically without using referencing. You can see there are various brand names. If I select Panasonic, it will give the data of Panasonic. Panasonic country sales in US, correct. Lumix DMC FZ35, megapixels 12.1, and LCD 2.7. We can easily create dynamic tables in Excel using various techniques. This is just 2 of the methods. We can have various functions like choose and match to create dynamic tables. As this webinar is about introduction, there are over 77,000 functions in Excel. You cannot be excellent in all of them, but at least you can try to learn some function, but learn them to the fullest. That's it. I have nothing more to share. If you have any questions, you can ask me. And if you want the Excel workbook on which I have done all the work, please contact me on the following Gmail ID or WhatsApp number. Now, if you have any questions, you can ask me.
Yes, can you come back to the HLOOKUP table, what you prepared?
What? HLOOKUP.
HLOOKUP table.
Yeah, sure. Just a second. It's not sharing. Give me a minute.
No problem.
Yeah. Here is the table.
Can't see. Yeah. So you put the 2 number you put against in the cell number J6 or 7. So that was for the column or for the row?
The
Go there in
number, yes,
61.
the number that I've put is for the row. It's for this second row.
Okay, can you go to the maths, please? 72 number.
Math.
Yeah.
Math 72.
No, here in the J8.
G8.
J.
J8. Okay. Yep.
So why you haven't changed again? You know, the 2 to 4, and it is picking the number. Why it is like that?
Sorry, I didn't get you. You can speak in Hindi, no problem.
Okay, so when जब हम VLOOKUP यूज कर रहे थे, तो हमने कॉलम का रेफरेंस नंबर चेंज किया, 2, 3, 4 करना पड़ा हमारे को, राइट?
Yep.
So जब हम HLOOKUP लगा रहे हैं, तो हमने यहाँ पे J7 में हमने 62 राइट किया, राइट? That is for the row reference number. लेकिन जब हमने उसे कॉपी किया नीचे, तो वो 3, 4, 5 क्यों नहीं करना पड़ा हमारे को?
Okay, I get it out. Let me do it. I don't think it's... Just a second. Okay, we need to do it, but we have to first fix the table. But we don't. हमने ऐसे यहाँ पे ऐसा करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी, क्योंकि यहाँ पे हमारे पास सिर्फ एक ही वैल्यू, हमने सिर्फ एक में किया, एक एक D में किया, इसमें
अच्छा
हमने एक
ओके
टेबल बना
अंडरस्टूड
दिया.
क्योंकि आपका टेबल जो है
Yeah,
वो नीचे मूव कर रहा था बिकॉज दैट वाज
yeah,
वेरिएबल
yeah,
so that's the reason it was always picking as a second reference
yeah,
for the table slipping down.
yeah.
Okay, understood.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other doubt?
No,
No?
not for me. Others can
Okay,
have.
okay. So let me share the screen. Okay. And guys, one more request. If you have any feedback for me, then also you can use the details to reach me on my WhatsApp or mail. I will. It's highly appreciated that you give me feedback.
Thank you, Yash, for
Moderator.
this session. We can have the feedback right now. So anybody who would like to give the feedback can unmute themselves and provide their valuable feedback to us. Deepak, would you like to give your feedback?
Yes, Girish. This is a very amazing workshop, and you know that Excel is very common and very in all the organization in every field. So doing these exercises with yes, like it's very learning for me, and hope learning for all of us because very confusing while using VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, pivot table. We generally don't use it, but it is like very common, and if we use in our daily routine work, so we will habitual to it, and very useful session. Yeah, I must say, yes, has did a wonderful job.
Thank you for your feedback. So, for your information, we have these SkillX sessions every Saturday, and we have also our regular meetings on Sunday that are from the Faridabad Toastmasters Club every Sunday 10 to 12:30. And if you are interested, you can send me your details in the chat box. You can send me your details. I can add you to the guest group so that you can get more updates on that.
Okay, Grace, I'll send you the message. Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody
Hi
else who
all.
would like to give their feedback?
Yeah, hi all. I am Priyanka and I am here as a guest today. And
Hello, Priyanka.
Yash, hi Yash, your session was quite insightful, and we all know that Excel is so important in financial and the corporate world, and your session was worth the time.
Thank you, Priyanka.
Welcome.
Yes, your session was really great, excellent. Thank you very much for organizing the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukesh.
Yeah, hi Ash. My name is Mani. I'm from Hyderabad Toastmasters. I saw your meeting post in the Toastmasters International meeting group. It's good to be part of the meeting that other than our state, and good to see that now whatever the concepts that you have shared with us yesterday, they'll be very useful, and I learned a few things. And thank you very much, and really appreciate you doing something apart from Toastmasters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mani.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mani, for joining. May I know how did you get our notification for this meeting?
Somebody
Yeah.
posted it on Toastmasters International online attendance group. So it's a WhatsApp group that that has list of all the people from across the globe.
Yep, I know. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, we are just 1 minute to close, and I would also like to give your feedback to Yash. So it was an amazing session. I hope that all of us have learned something new. Although we use Excel in our daily basis, but from my experience, I have also gained a few things which I really was not aware of. So that's kudos to you for giving your valuable time to us and presenting it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the amazing feedback. If you want some more topics, you can message me or message our moderator and President Toastmaster Greece. Then we can have another SkillX session on uh, some more advanced Excel tools.
Sure, we can definitely plan that. So I think it's time to wind up. Thank you everybody for joining the meeting. I hope you have learned and enjoyed the meeting. Thank you everybody for joining. See you on tomorrow in the Faridabad Toastmasters meeting.
I wish I could be there.
Thank you everybody for joining. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye everyone.